Hey guys, for this video today, this in my personal opinion is a very interesting topic, and I thought that I should sit down and film a video about this because I have to admit, not only is this information incredibly surprising to me, but I also have to say this too. To be honest, I was really quite shocked to see this actually brought up and the fact that this is actually likely going to happen. But anyways, for this video today, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the rumors that supposedly there are multiple NHL teams that have supposedly scrapped their plans for new alternate uniforms for the upcoming 2019-2020 NHL season. And for anybody wondering, this information that I've read has come from Aesthetics, who is arguably the greatest source for NHL jersey news on the internet. And I was blown away, shocked, when I read that there were not one, not two, but 3 NHL teams that are rumored to have now scrapped their alternate jersey plans for the upcoming 2019-2020 NHL season. I have to confess, I'm shocked. And the thing is, for me, as far as I can recall, I have never seen multiple NHL teams on a jersey catalog scheduled to unveil new alternate uniforms for an upcoming season that have scrapped their plans. I've seen times where a team has scrapped their plans, like for example, the Canucks last season with their plans for a third jersey that they have decided to not bring out until this coming season, which I kind of wish they would have brought it out this past season, because the third jersey they've unveiled, in my opinion, is not very good. I do not like it. I think it's terrible. And if they would have already had a season of use with that uniform, then for their 50th anniversary, it could be their last season with it, and then they could hopefully retire it in a perfect world. But unfortunately, now for the next two plus seasons, that's going to be the Canucks' new alternate uniform. And I think it's a shame, really, because these 2 big Kelly green stripes on the arms and the waist without any white on a royal blue jersey, it looks muddled, and it does not look good. And so that was one team that scrapped their third jersey plans that not this past off season, or not this off season, but last off season, that, you know, that was, now looking back, is disappointing. So what I'm saying is, I have seen teams that have scrapped third jersey or jersey change plans in the past, but I have never seen multiple NHL teams scrap their plans. I've seen one team, which last year was the Vancouver Canucks, but I've never seen multiple teams like this. This to me is mind-boggling, shocking. My jaw dropped when I read this. And also, what also is crazy to me is the fact that, you know, this information is extremely unlikely to be false, because, as I said earlier, Aesthetics is arguably the greatest source for NHL jersey news on the entire internet. So when it's coming from Aesthetics, it's 99.9% of the time fully accurate. I don't even think I've ever seen a time where Aesthetics hasn't been accurate. So if this is coming from Aesthetics, I guarantee, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that I'm 100% sure that the Minnesota Wild, the New York Rangers, and the Detroit Red Wings have scrapped their plans for new alternates for next season, which will be the 2019-2020 NHL season as I'm filming this video. So those are the 3 teams. So with Minnesota, I'm not surprised. because I've been hearing rumors online for a very, very long time that the Wild have not only been looking at a new black alternate uniform for next season, but the thing is that this uniform has supposedly done so badly with TV testing that not even the National Hockey League would give the Minnesota Wild the green light to go ahead and implement this design as their full-time third starting next year. So clearly what's happened is the Wild have tried to make this work, and they've missed a deadline, and now they're not going to be able to use it. And going back to talking about aesthetics, the Wild are rumored to be trying to get the green light to host the 2021 Winter Classic. And if this is true, I'm ecstatic, because Minnesota has decades of NHL hockey history, whether it's their time as the Minnesota North, or the years where they had the Minnesota North Stars, who are now the Dallas Stars, and even now as the Minnesota Wild, who are now going to turn 20 years old in 2020, which is shocking, and it makes me feel old, because with the Minnesota Wild, here's the thing. I mean, I'm still kind of in shock that they're going to be turning 20 years old. It makes me feel old when I realize that, holy crap, the Minnesota Wild have been in the National Hockey League for 20 years, or almost 20 years now. That's crazy. But yeah, with the Wild, I've been hearing that it was a black alternate uniform they were going for, and it did so badly with TV testing, and now they have canned it, which, on one end, if it's that bad, I'm glad that it has been canned and scrapped. But I do have to make a confession. Although this would have been a total case of black for black's sake, considering that the Wild have never used black in their color scheme for a single day in this franchise's history, I have to admit I was really intrigued with the idea of the Minnesota Wild having a black alternate that had the Minnesota Wild wordmark logo from their longtime forest green alternate uniform during the Reebok era. They were going to use that word mark on this jersey. So I've got to say that, to me, I was really hoping that this was actually going to get past the TV testing problems and actually get used next season, but unfortunately, it's not. But if it's that bad, then it's probably for the better. But I do got to admit, I'm a little bit disappointed, because I was really intrigued at the idea as a whole. Now, the second team on the list of the three teams that are rumored to not be going ahead with their third jersey plans is the New York Rangers. The Rangers news about them scrapping their third jersey plans for next season really surprised me. I was really quite surprised, to be honest, because I figured that the Rangers were either going to hopefully bring back their longtime Reebok era third jersey, the navy blue one that said New York on the front, because I've always felt that it was an absolutely gorgeous alternate uniform. I know that a lot of people have wanted to see the Lady Liberty make a return, and if they do play in another Stadium Series game, I would love to see it be the logo on a future Stadium Series jersey. And I do have to make a confession. The idea of the Rangers one day taking their Digital 6 uniform from NHL 19, the video game, and making that into a Stadium Series jersey in the future, I do have to make a confession. I do think that would be really interesting, even though it would be interesting for all the wrong reasons. That uniform would certainly go down in history like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. However, unlike Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, it would go down in history for all of the wrong reasons, of course. But, this idea of the Rangers scrapping their third jersey plans is really surprising to me. Like, I was hoping that they were going to bring back their longtime navy blue third from the Reebok years, because I've always felt that was an absolutely gorgeous uniform, and I have that jersey, and honestly, I love it. I was also keeping in mind that maybe there would have been a chance that they would have brought back that awful 2018 Winter Classic sweater. I mean, I understand that people out there do like it, but I thought that that was one of the worst Winter Classic designs to date. And I think that may surprise some of you because I hated that striping along the upper chest shoulder area. It looked totally random and out of place. And for me, that really ruined that design for me. And I also hated the New York Rangers shield silhouette on the front of every jersey, where it had the NY initials for New York. Honestly, folks, I thought that was absolutely ugly. I hated that on that uniform. I mean, if it was just exclusively used as a captaincy and an alternate captaincy patch only, then it would have been totally fine with me. But using that patch for every single jersey, where non-alternate and non-captain players have a New York NY initial patch where the captaincy patch is normally, to me was a terrible idea. That and that random striping up along the upper chest shoulder area was just hideous. And the fact that there was a little bit of navy blue below their waist striping, to me was just a head scratcher as well. Like, why didn't they just basically make a navy blue version of their home jersey with the original 1926 Rangers word mark along the front? That to me would have been a perfect uniform. And in fact, if the Rangers would have just done that, I would have totally been on board for that being a new third jersey for the Rangers, because the navy blue with white and red on it actually looked really good. Like, the color combination was great, but the jersey itself, I'm sorry, I was not a fan. So I was kind of dreading that that could have came back, but now it's not. So what if the Rangers were actually going to try something new? I mean, maybe they were actually looking into a Lady Liberty uniform again. I mean, I would like to see the Lady Liberty uniform logo make a comeback on a future jersey, because I know there's a lot of people out there who do like it. I mean, do I want to see a Lady Liberty third jersey again? No, because the Rangers are an Original Six franchise, and I'm not necessarily a fan of the idea of the Rangers doing a really modern uniform. But at the same time, I am open to the idea of the Rangers doing that for a future Stadium Series jersey, because, I mean, I do believe that, you know what, that is actually a really good logo. For a modern logo and a modern take on the New York Rangers, I've always felt that the Lady Liberty logo itself was always decent. I mean, I don't want to see it on a future third jersey, but if they did make a third jersey with it and it was a decent design, I would not be against it, that's for sure. I wouldn't prefer it, but I'd be okay with it. And I definitely would say, though, that if they do play in a future Stadium Series game, which I'm sure it's not a matter of if, it's only when, they definitely need to do a Lady Liberty jersey design of some sort again. That I think we can all agree with, for the most part. Because technically the Stadium Series games are about trying new things, eh? So hopefully if they do that, it's going to be something new that doesn't suck. Or they could do that Digital 6 design, just saying, to hell with designing a jersey, let's just take our shield and wrap it around and turn that into a jersey itself. That would be intriguing, but as I said earlier, it would be for all the wrong reasons. Though I do gotta confess, I would be quite interested to see that uniform on the ice. Even just as like a promo shoot or something. That would be interesting. But anyway, I do gotta admit though, I mean, I am disappointed that the Rangers aren't going ahead with their plans, but it makes me wonder, what were they actually considering? Maybe they were actually considering a new design. I mean, in this Adidas Adizero era of NHL jerseys, I've noticed that Adidas has really pushed for teams to go with more modern, crazier, radically new designs. I mean, even for example, look at the Carolina Hurricanes' new third jersey. It's got a dark gray shoulder yoke on a black jersey with heathered red striping. Look at the San Jose Sharks' third jersey from this past season. it's so dark that you can barely even see the arm striping on the ice during games, where it looks more like just a plain black practice jersey. I mean, I get that that's the idea they were going for, eh? But, you know, when you can't even see the design on the arms during a game, what the hell's the point? I do gotta say, though, the idea of computer circuitry board pattern striping inside the arms was a neat idea. It's just, I feel like it was poorly executed. That's all. And then, you know, you look at, for more modern type designs also, if you look at another team, think of the Golden Knights, where unlike those two teams, I feel that for a modern design using a dark gray, I feel like they actually did a pretty decent job. And that embroidery on the arms is quite decent. Same with their logo as well. And also, speaking of teams like going for more modernized looks, I mean, look at the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. I mean, I'm amazed that that jersey got the okay from the NHL, but the Minnesota Wild's now prototype black alternate jersey design did not. And the Philadelphia Flyers third jersey as well, because it's got the black on black numbers and those big ugly orange nameplates, which, as I say that, for a third jersey, it works. I mean, do I want to see it last forever? Absolutely not. But I think that for a year or two, I think it's good enough to be a third jersey. But as for the Tampa Bay Lightning, I mean, they've got those gray on black numbers where the gradient is really quite dark, but it's just light enough that it works, that it's clearly been just light enough to work and get NHL approval to be used. And then it's just got the weird new gray gradient on the arms. And and once again, I mean, you can tell that so far in the Addy Zero era, Adidas has really tried to push new things for alternate jersey designs. I mean, would they necessarily go that route for the New York Rangers? Well, they do have a history of trying new things, aka the Lady Liberty uniforms of the 90s and the 2000s. So, who knows what they could have gone with? Maybe it was actually a new design, and maybe it was just really bad. Or maybe it was something that they just said, you know what, we don't need a third jersey. I mean, I guess maybe that happens too, or maybe they're going to wait. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, no, I gotta admit, I was really hoping for the New York jersey, the navy blue one, the heritage one from the 2010s, or from the past bunch of years at the end of the Reebok era, because that to me is my favorite Rangers third jersey to date. It was beautiful. I thought that the red and cream accents looked terrific. But now, finally, let's talk about the Detroit Red Wings. This team, when I saw that the Red Wings were on the jersey catalog, or the Adidas jersey catalog, as a team getting a new third jersey, I do have to confess, that blew me away. I was not expecting to see that. So, Detroit is an original six team that has never had a third jersey before. So that got me thinking, are they going to actually bring back the 2014 Winter Classic? They did wear that Detroit Cougars throwback for the 2009 Winter Classic. I mean, were they going to bring that back, or possibly bring out a matching red version of that uniform? I mean, if the Red Wings would have done either one of those, I mean, I think most of us could agree that for a third jersey, that would be a decent design, eh? And it would be a nice homage to the Red Wings past, because it's an actual, the white one at least, is a throwback, is a true throwback. As for the red version of it that we've seen in past years, I can't remember if that one is actually a legitimate part of the Red Wings uniform history, and going back to when they were initially the Detroit Cougars or not. Actually, hang on, the matching red version of that Detroit Cougars throwback is actually not a true throwback as far as I know. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I could be. I'm just going off of what I remember off of the top of my head. But, you know, the Red Wings could have done a red Cougars jersey, or even done the white throwback from the 09 Winter Classic, and that would have been a nice third jersey. Even though I would tell you that the Red Wings probably don't need a third jersey. I mean, in my personal opinion, I don't think the Red Wings should have a third jersey. I mean, I'm open to the idea of the Red Wings wearing a throwback sweater now and then, but that's it. I mean, if they were going to dust off their 2014 Winter Classic uniform, although I've always felt that it wasn't the greatest uniform they've ever had, I mean, as a nice faux back design inspired by elements from their franchise's storied history, I mean, I myself, to be honest, I would not have been against the Red Wings bringing that out as a third jersey for maybe 7 to 12 games a year. I would have been okay with it. I wouldn't have loved it, but I would not have been against it. I would have been totally cool with that if that's what they were going to do. And then I thought about another thing. What if they were going to do a new design featuring that modernized Detroit Cougars logo from their 2016 Stadium Series jersey with the white diagonal sash on the front? In my opinion, that is the second worst Stadium Series design that I have ever seen, only behind this past season's Flyers orange Stadium Series uniform. That uniform the Flyers wore this past season with that awful helmet design was just atrocious. I mean, even the Pittsburgh Penguins wore their Stadium Series design for a second game. The Flyers and Adidas really crapped the bed on their Stadium Series design, and what pisses me off about that, and I'll mention it real quick here, is that if they just would have added some white to it, it could have actually been an all-right uniform. In fact, I actually think that it's possible that it could have been an upgrade over their current third jersey. But it's so bad that it actually makes their new third jersey look okay. And for the record, I'm not a big fan of that 2017 Stadium Series jersey, for anybody curious. I mean, as a third jersey, I think it's okay, but it's certainly not my favorite uniform, that's for damn sure. But anyways, back to the Red Wings. I mean, I was thinking about it lately, and I thought to myself, I could actually see the Red Wings, considering that Adidas has really been about convincing teams to really go for new designs and new things on their uniforms, that was probably going to be some new modern design that the Red Wings have never done before, featuring that Detroit Cougars logo from the 2016 Stadium Series. Now, as much as that uniform, in my biased opinion, is a total disaster of a uniform, a total train wreck, they did a wonderful job, in my opinion, with that Detroit Cougars, or modernized Detroit Cougars logo. That is the one thing about that uniform that actually was really quite nice, in my opinion. And the thing is that I was actually thinking, and I would not have been surprised if the Red Wings were looking into a new design with that logo on the front. But I do have to say this, I did actually attempt to make this video that I'm filming right now about a week or two ago, and I'm glad that I decided not to go ahead with it, because supposedly, and I need to give credit to my subscriber, Nick, for mentioning this to me, but there have actually been some online rumors that the Red Wings were actually going to do more than a third jersey design based off of their history of uniforms. I've actually heard some online rumors that the Red Wings were going for something radically brand spanking new. In fact, from what I know, the Red Wings were possibly, and remember folks, this is just rumors, I very well could be wrong, but supposedly there's been talk on the internet, and remember, when this stuff is mentioned on the internet, it could be fake news. It could just be a pile of false information just to get people riled up. But I have a sneaking suspicion that this was probably legitimate. But at some point or another, I have read some rumors that the Detroit Red Wings at one point discussed the idea of a black alternate uniform. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, seeing the Red Wings going with a black alternate uniform is sacrilege. It's just, for myself, it's just not right. It would be like the Montreal Canadiens skating out on the ice with a black third jersey. It's just not right, in my opinion. And I'm sure that there would be people out there that would look at it and go, wow, the Red Wings are finally trying something new. Good for them. For me, I disagree. I think that they should leave their hockey history alone and continue to have beautiful home and away sweater jerseys, and that's it. I mean, if they want to do a throwback now and then, I'm all for that. But anything more than that, no thank you. I mean, I would tell you that their 2016 Stadium Series jersey for one lousy game in their franchise's history was too much. I don't even think that that uniform should have ever existed. And I'm sure that most people don't have a problem with it. And for the people that like it, I'm happy that the Red Wings came up with it for you. Because it did sell some jerseys. It did. And I know that there are people out there who did really like that Stadium Series uniform. And if you do, all the power to you. But that awful uniform, okay, that's just a matter of personal opinion. But for me, I see it as a terrible uniform that is now part of the franchise's history. And what, they're going to add some new horrible design just to sell some new jerseys? For me, I think it's kind of sacrilegious for a team with such a storied history of hockey uniforms as the Detroit Red Wings to just unveil this new black jersey with a modernized Detroit Cougars crest on the front of it, or even possibly their classic regular logo on their home and away jerseys on a black jersey, just to sell some new jerseys and to be a part of this trend of Adidas going for more modern looks. I mean, I don't know, and once again, I don't know if this was actually true or not, and it could be wrong. And I would not be surprised if it's probably just a bunch of baloney that it was even discussed. But on the other side of the coin, this is now the Adidas era. And Adidas, from what I have seen myself, has really tried to push more modern stuff on hockey jerseys now that they have been making the uniforms for the past couple of years. So for me, if you were to tell me that the Red Wings, when they were considering a third jersey, looked at a black prototype at some point or another, or even just a black jersey concept on a computer screen, I would say that that would not shock me. I'm sure that this probably was part of the discussion at some point. It would not surprise me. But also, I've even read that the Red Wings were looking into possibly a red third jersey, which, you know, if they're going to do a third jersey, it should be red or white. But this one, there was an idea thrown around from what I've read, and remember, this could be wrong, that they were looking at a red design with a lot of black elements on it. I mean, if the Red Wings were going to do that, it would be a hell of a lot better than a black jersey for Detroit, even though I think that, you know, I'm going to make a confession. I think I have seen some black concepts, some black Detroit Red Wings concepts that, in my opinion, if they were worn in an NHL game, they would not be the end of the world. They were okay. But for me, I just don't think the Red Wings should ever have a black jersey. I just don't. I mean, if people like the idea, then that's all the power to them. But for me, when this franchise has gone close to 100 years without ever having a black jersey, and then just hopping on the trend and having a black jersey, for me, just wouldn't be right. I mean, I understand that at one point or another, the Detroit Falcons, when the Red Wings were the Detroit Falcons, they did have a bit of gold and yellow on their jersey in the early 1930s. I mean, does that mean I want to see a bright yellow Red Wings uniform? No, certainly not. But, you know, these ideas, I mean, if these rumors are actually true, it sounds like this uniform is going to be a piece of crap. And to whomever decided to scrap it, honestly, I'm absolutely just over the moon happy that they've done it, if these rumors are actually true, which, to be honest, I'm going to make a confession right now and just say this. I actually believe that these rumors are true considerations that the Red Wings had during this process until they scrapped their third jersey. I would not be shocked if it's eventually revealed that they were looking into this heavily. But yeah, I mean, with the Detroit Red Wings, some very interesting stuff. I mean, I could have even seen them bringing back their 2016 Stadium Series uniform the way it was. Maybe with a few little tweaks. Maybe. But, you know, I could, since it's already a part of their uniform history, I could even see the Red Wings maybe even looking into just bringing that design back. And in my opinion, that would have been a mistake. I've also said that maybe the Red Wings were going to look at a 30s and 1940s white throwback sweater. I think that at some point, if they play in a future Winter Classic, they should bring it back. It would be a nice tribute to Gordie Howe and to Ted Lindsay and to the Red Wings franchise history. I think it would be a wonderful heritage sweater to wear as a special throwback now and then. But, or even if they brought back their 2009 Winter Classic Detroit Cougars throwbacks as an alternate, or even a red version of it, I would be okay with that. Even though I don't believe that the Red Wings should have a third jersey. I don't think they should. But I will say this. If these rumors were true, then I am extremely happy that the Red Wings have said, you know what? Forget it. We're not doing this. Our fan base is going to go crazy if we do this. And I think that they probably would have. You know, would I be okay with them trying a Stadium Series jersey in the future with black on it? Honestly, I would prefer if they didn't. It's never been a part of their franchise's color scheme, and as far as unless you go further back into like their days as the Detroit Cougars or the Falcons. Off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure that era before they became the Red Wings, they never had black. But because I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head, I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure I'm right. But yeah, I mean, this stuff is pretty damn interesting. But I've also even heard that Steve Yzerman might have been the guy who dropped the hammer and said, look, this is not happening. And if Steve Yzerman is the one who's now come in and said, look, get rid of this idea right now. This is not happening. Then Steve Yzerman, you, sir, are a good man. You have damn good taste, and thank you for not bringing on some hideous alternate uniform for the Red Wings. And you know what? I've also heard in the past that supposedly he might have been the reason why the Tampa Bay Lightning have continued to look a hell of a lot like the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, I do hope that the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to finally correct their home and away jerseys because they're too much like Toronto and they're extremely boring. And the sad part is in my opinion, if they would just make their home and away jerseys black and white, I could live with them. I think an exact black version of their home jersey would look pretty good. It would be nice and simple, it'd be very clean, and I think it could work. And I certainly would tell you that it'd be a hell of a lot better for a third jersey than the new one they've brought out this past season, eh? That, in my opinion, was just horrible. And now they've still got to wear it for one more year. It's just stupid, in my opinion. It's a terrible design. At least in my opinion. I know some people like it, but I think it sucks. But yeah, I mean, hopefully Tampa Bay is going to fix their home and away jerseys in the next 3 to 5 years. Hopefully the sooner the better, because I think their current uniforms need a change, like ASAP. But as for Detroit, am I ever glad that if these rumors are actually true, which I would not be surprised if they are, I really do hope that they never consider that again. And on top of that, am I ever glad that the Red Wings have scrapped their plans for a third jersey? Because if they were looking at something that was either black or black heavy, woo-wee, I'm going to go out on a limb and guarantee that it probably would have been a total train wreck of an alternate uniform for a team with such gorgeous home and away jerseys as the Red Wings, with such a long history and a beautiful hockey jersey history as the Red Wings. For them to bring out some new hideous design, that would really piss me off as a hockey jersey fan. And as somebody who loves jerseys, that would really piss me off. And As somebody who really honestly loves the Red Wings uniforms, it would be a total crying shame if they did something like this. So am I ever glad that they've scrapped these plans? And I'm glad that they're not going with a third jersey, whether it's a decent design like the 2014 Winter Classic sweater, or even their Centennial Classic white jersey, which I honestly thought that besides the silver stripe on each arm was a decent design. And also, you know, their 2009 Winter Classic Cougars throwback was, I've always liked and loved that sweater. I mean, as a third jersey, I would be totally down with the Red Wings doing something like that, preferably as just a heritage uniform, because I love their regular jerseys. I think they're some of the best in the NHL. But, you know, for them going with a new design that was possibly even rumored to maybe even at one point have been at a point where the Red Wings were actually looking into a black third jersey, no thank you. But anyways, you guys, what do you guys think about all this? Honestly, these rumors are crazy. I mean, I'm disappointed that the Wild did not go ahead with a black third jersey, because I think it could have looked really good if done right. With that Minnesota Wild wordmark script logo from their last third jersey in the Reebok years, it could have, in my opinion, been a decent uniform. With the Rangers, if it was something new, I'm glad that they've scrapped it, but I am disappointed we're not going to see a return of that New York navy blue third jersey from the Reebok years. And as for the Red Wings, thank you for scrapping your plans if these rumors are actually legitimate, which I have a feeling that they probably were. But anyways, you guys, after 37 minutes of talking, sorry for the long video, but I just really wanted to talk about this stuff because it really is interesting stuff to me. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video if you have watched it all the way through, and I'm going to call it a wrap now. And of course, as always, folks, until my next video, take care, and of course, as I always say, bye for now.